Now let us say right, this is the distribution in the data.
Hello, sir. Are you
And
presenting something?
yes,
We
wait.
cannot see here.
Yeah. Can you see now?
Yes, sir. Now it is
This
visible.
is, let us say this is the distribution in the data. Okay. And what do we do when we build a model? What do we do?
So we try to get a line of best fit maybe. So we
Yes. So what we
minimize the
try to do is, yeah, let us say this is term deposit accepted. Y 1 probably, and term deposit not accepted. Right? So what we are trying to do is we try to find out distinguishing factors which enables us to distinguish between two possible outcomes. Okay. Now this is your fit line. Now rather than fitting like this, okay, you fit the line something like this. Okay. Now if you fit a line like this on your data set, the prediction accuracy as compared to this particular line 1 and line 2, I am saying, curve 2, in which the prediction will be higher, line 1 or line 2?
two, sir.
Sir, I think line 2
Right,
because it's
line
covering
2.
the maximum point.
Yes, okay, because this error terms, error aspect, error, ये जो error आ रहा है ना, this error will be very small as compared to for this line, let us say, as compared to for this line, let us say, right, as compared to for this observation, the error would be small. Now what happens if you use model for of line 2 for an unobserved data set? You don't get accuracy, right? And this is the example of overfitting. All right, that is the reason to avoid such situations. Okay, you create train data and test data. You build a model on one particular data set, and on another model you test that data with respect to their accuracy. I hope there is a clarity on this.
Sir, can you
Yes.
please repeat again, sir? I lost because of network.
So Prabhat, we are talking about two models, line 1 and line 2. We try to fit the data on the line, which means the model, and then we predict. Okay, so let us say the observation is this, and we have built a model like this. Based on this model, okay, the predicted value or predicted outcome would be this, but the actual outcome is this. It could be a probability or it could be a continuous variable, right? So this is the error term. Now for the same data set, if we fit a model like this with a curve like this for model number 2, the error would be low, very low for each point, and the accuracy would be high for, okay, but this accuracy would be applicable only for this particular data set. Now the moment you have new observations and a different data set, this model will not work. For this particular data set, the prediction accuracy would be high, but if we test the same model on another data set, the prediction accuracy goes haywire, right? In that case, you say you have an overfitting problem. Okay, Prabhat?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
and these kind of questions number of times have been asked in analytics role or machine learning role. So you can, and I have also shared 3-4 documents also. I have shared one document which is a very good document, frequently asked questions for analytics role or data science or machine learning role. So you can go through those questions in the file that I have uploaded. Right? So what we want to do, we want to create 2 data sets. Okay. Now the function that we are using, as I said, the function that we are using is sample. How many data sets we want? 2. Okay. We want to pick up row wise. Okay, row wise observations we would like to pick up. So the command for telling that to R is n row. Within bracket, which data set? So you give the name of the data set. For us, the name is of the data frame is data set. Okay. Then you also give the input whether you would like to replace. We have discussed this replacement equal to true. I hope there is a understanding of what do you mean by replacement equal to true. Yes, if anyone can explain.
If there is a missing data,
No. Let us say
No, sir,
how.
no, sir.
Yes.
We start numbering, there will be no replacement after giving certain numbers. Like 10 are in a row, and we are sorry, 20 are in a row, and we are selecting after 5. So the fifth number will be get selected and marked for the respective group, or and then but it not going to be replaced. And there is another criteria where we mention it false. Then in that case, the fifth number will get replaced, and the series will go on like that.
Yes. Now let us say आपके जो let us say there are 2 sections in your batch, section A and section B. Now is that an example of replacement equal to true or replacement equal to false? Right, let us assume you उस आपके क्लास में 100 आपके बैच में 100 स्टूडेंट्स है and 50 students in A, 50 students in B. Okay. Now students from A, are they part of in any ways part of section B? हाँ जी.
सर जब लेक्चर में सुनाते थे तो जरूर आता था.
हेलो हेलो हेलो.
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
तो कुछ तो बोलो. Is it
Sir,
an example? गलत भी हो गया तो बोलना चाहिए. Yes.
Sir, they won't be part of section B, sir.
हाँ, so then is that an example of replacement? Are we replacing?
No, sir.
Right. So then replacement equal to true. These 2 samples, okay, they are mutually what? Exclusive. There is no intersection between these 2 samples. That argument is replacement equal to true. I hope now there is some clarity.
Yes, sir. Sir, that means the dataset which we are using to train the sample will not be used for testing that sample, right?
Yes, and no. So let us say 4521 हमारा observation है. So 70% of this, and let us say there will be around 3000 observations, and this is 30%. Let us say some 1500 observations. No single observation from this data will be part of this data set. and no single observation from this will be part of test data, is what this argument implies, replacement equal to true. Okay. Then the next argument that we are giving is the vector of probability. Now, when we are saying vector of probability, what we are telling is in trained data, we want 70% of the sample, and in test data, we want 30% of the sample. Now, this in some cases it is 50-50, it could be 60-40, it could be 80-20. Again, it depends on the sample size. There are various other elements that goes into the picture, right? So what you are saying, in trained data, we want 70% of the data, test data, we want 30% of the data set. Okay, so run this command. I am copying this command in the chat box as well. So we have just run this command. Now all the values we have assigned and we have given some name PD. Okay. You can give any name that you want. I have given some name PD. Now we would like to view this. So we use the command view, run the command, and what we observe is number 1, 2, 1, 2 numbers have been assigned for all the entries. You can also look at you can also tabulate this. Now quickly calculate whether it follows this distribution, 70% and 30%. Is the proportion correct?
Yes, sir, it is correct.
Right?
I already calculated.
Yeah. Okay. Now, before understanding how this values get allocated to train and test data set, we'll quickly run one or two exercises, so to say. Now, let us say our original data set was this. Now, let us say we would like to choose only the column age from this particular data set. Okay. Now, the way to choose this particular column, the command. Data set rectangular bracket. Okay. We would like to choose a specific row or a specific column from this particular data set. Now choosing a specific column. Now what is the column number for age here in this particular data set? Haji.
2, sir.
2. Okay.
Yes,
so
sir.
And in the rectangular bracket, the value after comma considers it to be a column, and the value before comma you consider it as row. Okay, so we will just run this command first. We'll just assign some A name to this and B So this command, okay, will select column number 2 for me in the data set. And this command will select row number 2 for me in the data set. Now let us say I would like to select, let us say I would like to select this Y column from the data set. What number will come here? Hello? Hello?
18.
Who's this? Answer. Yeah, you are telling right. Please tell your name.
Amit sir.
So see whether it is wrong or right. It doesn't. क्या फर्क पड़ता है? You should tell the answer. Right. So you will use so this is column number 2, which is age. This is column number 18, which is whether the person has accepted the offer or not. Let us view this. Right. So it captures one specific column from the data set. Now let us say आपके पास there are thousands of columns in your data set and you would like to choose only 8 to 10 columns. In that case, this command comes very handy, right? So this is one way of choosing a column from the data set. And
so we are choosing only one column. So how to select
yes,
more than one column, sir?
so you one way is so you will give specific column names, let us say, or a series of names. कहाँ गया वो? Yes, Tanish. So one हमको पहले first 4 columns चाहिए. Tanish, are you fine with this?
Sir Prabhat. Yes, sir.
हाँ,
Fine.
Prabhat, right?
Yes.
Okay. Then ये तो हो गया column का. I am deleting this, okay? Now let us print this value B. And it will give all the values, or you can also view it. So observation number 2, customer ID 2. Is that fine? Let us say आपको first, you want to select first 1000 rows and create a subset. So what do you do here? 1 colon 1000. You run the command and you view. Okay, and it has created a data frame of 1000, first 1000 rows. You can quickly check the str of this.
सर बट ये साइड बाय साइड अगर कॉलम होगा तो ही होगा ना, रो और कॉलम अगर अटैच हो गए तो। अगर मुझे
सवाल पूछो
सर लाइक ये पॉसिबल तभी है ना जब 2 3 4 ऐसे, मतलब मुझे अगर जो कॉलम्स चाहिए वो साइड बाय साइड है इन केस ऑफ रो कॉलम।
हाँ हाँ
तो सर इफ मुझे ऐसे चाहिए कि कॉलम 2 कॉलम 4 कॉलम 7 ऐसे कुछ, मतलब डिफरेंट कॉलम्स, बट वो अटैच नहीं है।
हाँ, so yes, you are right, Pratik. One of the way to handle this is you create all such data frames. Okay, ये 5-6 line of code आप लिख करके you create those data frames and then you merge that data frame. Okay,
okay sir.
and
okay,
that is you इसका दूसरा तरीका ये है ना, SQL में ये सारे operations होता है. So what you do, you are doing column joins.
यस सर। सर इसमें कोई कमांड है कॉलम जॉइंस की?
अगर sequentially है तो this is the command, but I will have to think if there are
So
yes,
actually, there is a library called dplyr,
हाँ,
and through that
yes.
there is a command called select, and you can choose the columns that you want with the name. You do not even have to remember the column number.
No, see, let us say if there are 1000 columns, उसमें से आपको 100 columns select करने हैं. In that case, what do we do? इसमें भी you can give numbers and you can get selected, but we are talking about thousands of columns. So then in that case, manually it becomes very difficult. But I'll get back to you, Pratik, on this.
Yes sir, sure sir.
Okay. So I hope there is a clarity now how to choose columns or rows from a data frame in R.
Yes sir.
Okay.
So suppose
Yes.
yes, so suppose that we want to choose 1 to 4 column and then again 50 to 60 column. So then we can simply so what we will do then?
So that's what I said. I'll come back on this.
Okay, sir.
Right? Okay. Okay. Now the purpose of showing you this is in PD, right? There some values 1 or 2 have been assigned. Now we will be using this logic to assign rows to train data set and test data set. Okay. Now what we are doing, this is just a name. Train data. Now we are assigning data set. Now look at this. What we are telling here, the row value in PD, which equals 1, that value from this particular data set will be assigned to train data set. Is there a clarity on this?
Sir, can you repeat once again?
Now, I hope this command is fine. What we are doing, we are choosing rows. Okay, rows from which data frame, this specific data frame that we have created as a logic for carving out sample. Basically हमने क्या किया है, इस डेटा सेट के आगे एक एडिशनल कॉलम क्रिएट किया है, लेट अस से सैंपल, एंड उसमें हमने ईच रो को एक वैल्यू असाइन कर दी है, 1 2 1 2 1 2, दिस वैल्यू, राइट? एंड what we are saying, if that specific row has value equals 1, so we use double equal sign in R for denoting equality. Okay, so what we are saying, row values which has been assigned 1 in this specific data set, please consider that as a trained data set. Now, let us say,
Sir?
Yes, just wait a minute. Let us say we would like to create test data set. And we would like to assign from PD rows which have 2 values to that test data set. How will this command change?
So PD equals to 2.
Exactly. Right? So then if we would like to create a test data set, we have assigned 1 values to the train data set. Right? Are you fine with this? And yes, someone was asking question.
Yes, sir. Sir, so I
Yes.
was asking that how this value 1 and 2 has been assigned in the data set. Is it with the help with set dot
This is
seed?
no. This is this command sample. Okay, हमने यहाँ पे ये बोला है sample बोला है. This command, right? What we have will create 2 data set for us. In the sense logic for creating that sample. Now, if we assign here 3, then here it will assign 3, 1, 2, 3 value. Here we have to give 3 probabilities, which means we are creating 3 samples. The set.seed, okay, the role of this is to create the same sample or use the same logic the n number of times you run it. Now let us say you close this. Okay, close this and open it again. And if you are not using this seed, okay, it will create a slightly different sample. To ensure you get same sample, to ensure you get the same result every time you run the command, you use this. And I last class I have given this example of step random sampling. Let us say आपको 100 rows है Excel sheet में, and your logic is I will pick up every 4th student in the row, every 4th observation in the row, right? Now if you use that, now the next day someone else has been assigned to pick up that sample and reproduce the same sample, then he should also use the same step, which means every 4th observation he or she should pick up. Then you will get the same sample and you will get the same results. I hope I have answered your question.
Yes, sir. Sir, I was wondering that how these values 1, 2, 3, like these values are given randomly to the data set, or there is some logic behind that?
No, so this command sample, okay, this command in assigning that value.
Okay.
Right, हम 2 सैंपल बनाने को बोल रहे हैं ना, and हम 70% और 30% probability बोल रहे हैं. So 70% will go to sample 1, okay, which is PD1 in that PD data set, and 30% will go to PD2.
सर ये मैं समझ रहा हूँ कि 70-30 का डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन है, बट ये थोड़ा सा प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है समझने में कि कौन सा डाटा 70% में जाएगा और कौन सा डाटा 30% में जाएगा, और ये करने के लिए हम वैल्यू 1 और 2 असाइन कर रहे हैं. अब ये जो 1 और 2 असाइन कर रहे हैं वो बेसिकली मतलब किस वैल्यू को हम 1 कंसीडर करेंगे और किस वैल्यू को 2?
जो सीक्वेंशियली आ रही है, हाँ, सीक्वेंशियली जो आ रही है, फर्स्ट सैंपल इज 70%, सेकंड सैंपल इज 30%.
ओके सर, ठीक है सर, अंडरस्टूड.
Right. Okay. Now just to check ये सारा properly the app, आप इसको ना as it is copy करके रखोगे. Okay, ये कमांड और ये कमांड, these 4 lines, sorry, इधर गया. ये जो कमांड है ना, set.seed pd sample train or test, you can use this command as it is for all data set that you face. इसको let us say अभी आप you have customer churn data set, okay, and for that data set you would like to create two samples, train data and test data. Now what you will do, you will rename that data set. उस data set का नाम आप फिर से data set रखोगे यहाँ पे, and train and test data तो same है, just copy करके वहां पे वो प्रोजेक्ट क्रिएट करके you will paste this command and that will create samples for you. What I am trying to say is अगर आपने एक प्रोजेक्ट के लिए पूरा कोड एक तरीके से बिल्ड कर रखा है ना, you can adapt and modify the same codes, copy and paste, change the variable names, change the data names, and use the same command and run and see the results. I hope there is a clarity on this.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right now, other later. So just run this. View your train and test data. Use str command to look at the train and test data and tell me the number of observations and variables in train and test data.
Sir, 3-1, that is the 70% in 10 data, and 1339 in the test data, sir.
Okay, how many observations you have in both the data? How many columns or
These
variables
are the
you have?
observation. 18 variables, sir.
So right, so which means consistently दोनों data sets बराबर से split हुए हैं.
Split हो गए.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Now another important parameter to evaluate is जो the target variable है ना, वो proportionately distribute हुआ कि नहीं हुआ, that also needs to be checked.
Okay.
Okay. So then to just first use table. Wait. Now use this command table data set. What is your outcome variable?
Y.
Y. Run this command and tell me the result.
Sir, 0, 4000 and 1, 5221.
Right, you would like to know the proportion. So
Yes, sir.
the command for that is prop dot table within bracket, close this bracket, and give me the proportion. I will copy this command for others who are.
Sir, 0 is 88.476% and the 1 is 11.524%.
Right. So just run this command. I'm copying this. ये तो train
Yes,
के
sir,
लिए.
already done.
Okay. You calculate the proportion for train data as well as test data.
Calculated, sir.
Calculated. Okay.
0.88. Yes, sir.
0.88 and
0.8847. 47640 and 11.52441.
okay. Okay. Just copy the command in the chat box. Others, please use this command and run the command. So proportion is similar in the train data and test data for the outcome variable, more or less. I'll just run the command. So this is the proportion in the train data, and this is the proportion in the test data. So if you look at the proportion, it is approximately more or less on the similar lines. Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now this is the assignment. Okay. ये और individually सबको करना है. The data set which I have shared, customer churn data set. Okay. Now ये सारी steps what we have done till this stage. Okay. Which means importing the data, looking at the structure, looking at the number of variables, number of columns, then changing the data type if there is any issue with the data type, then looking at the frequency distribution, looking at the mean and standard deviation for continuous variable, looking at the histogram and box plot, then your missing values, and creating train and test data set. So you will, till this step, you will do all the analysis, create a project and do all this analysis for customer churn data. Okay. Now, if you do this, and I'll individually see each of that project. Okay. I will give some time bataunga when will I see that. And you also guys need to tell me how much time you will need for this. Okay. Now, if we do this, if you do this, there will be no quiz as far as my part is concerned. And this is the alternative to quiz. If you do this project, run all those codes. If you do this, you get all the marks, 10 out of 10 for doing that analysis. Is that fine with everyone?
Yes.
Right.
Sir.
So exactly जितने हमने exploratory steps किए हैं cross sell के लिए, the same steps you will do for customer churn, and at least before the next class. So probably on Saturday evening, I will check individually. You will have to share the screen, show me the project, and run the entire command. And if you are facing any difficulty, you let me know. I'll guide the steps. Okay. Now we have done with all the exploratory data analysis. Okay. Now the next step is creating our machine learning model, so to say. Okay. Now the first and preferred machine learning algorithm for predicting an outcome which is based on classification or binary outcome or multinomial outcome, right? Binary at least, is your logistic regression. We will use decision trees also. We will use random forest also. I'll also briefly try to explain what is this decision tree, what is this random forest, what is this support vector machines. Okay, so let us start building our first machine learning model. Okay. The command for running a logistic regression is GLM. This is your generalized linear model. Okay, now the first thing that you give to R is your formula of your model. You write formula equals, what is your target variable? Your target variable is Y. Okay, and what basically what the equation that you are giving, formula that you are giving is Y equal to mx1 plus mx2 plus mxn. Right? Now, if you would like to include all the variables in the data set, now rather than writing all the names, the way to do is, ये symbol को क्या बोलते हैं? हाँ जी. What do you call this? No. This is just escape के नीचे है ये आपके कीबोर्ड पे. Tilda ना?
I think it's approximation sign, sir.
No, I'll just show you. Wait. ये. I'll just.
Yes, sir. Tilde.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So tilde, then full stop and comma. Okay. This ensures that, right, which means y is your accepted or not accepted term deposit. This is age. This is your balance. This is your duration. This is your P outcome. Right? So what you have done, you have assigned this formula to this function. Right? Now you would like to build this data. You would like to build a model for which data? You would like to build
train
नहीं कौन सा train data or test data?
Sir, train data.
Right. So we would like to build a model for the train data. Okay. And now this third argument that we give to this command is the family, and what kind of distribution logistic regression follows? बताइए. What kind of distribution logistic regression follows?
Logistic regression, sir.
So mostly normal.
Logistic regression. Binomial distribution. Or so to say your sigmoid distribution. Sigmoid distribution क्या होता है? हाँ जी बताइए. Now you have probability on this side and you have outcome. Wait. This is 0 and 1 and this is your probability. Okay. 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 4, 5, 6, 8 and 1. Right? Let us say if the probability out and your cut point is below 0.5 and greater than 0.5 you classify as 1 outcome. This 1 and this 0. If the probability is 1, the outcome is this 0.1. Okay, so the distribution looks like this. ये देखा है ऐसा कभी distribution? I hope I'm drawing. Sorry. Hello.
Your
Yes, sir.
functions.
So -1 and 1 base.
Right. So binomial or sigmoid distribution.
Yes, sir.
Right. So this is what logistic regression follows. Right. So what we are giving, okay, this is logistic regression or it follows binomial distribution. So type this command and run this command. I will copy the command in the chat box. I'll just take 2-3 minutes ka break. Huh? Yes. So have you run the command?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you would like to look at the model. Okay. The command for and you have given some name. This is just a name. This is just a name of your model. Okay. Now you would like to look at the information in the model, and the command for that is summary. So use this command. This is the name and tell me the output and what is the information that is given.
Sir, coefficient of all the details
Right.
were
So
given, sir.
yeah. So if we look at this, basically now after running your logistic regression as your model, what do you look at? The most important thing.
Sir, the coefficient part. Hello,
The
sir.
yes.
Sir, coefficient part, sir. To formulate an
Coefficient.
equation, and based on the equation, we can use
Yeah.
the E exponential function formula.
Right. Now what in this what we have done is we have considered all the variables in the model. Okay. And see, there are multiple ways, and there are various other. I mean, one is to look at the correlation. Okay, correlation between the variable, that also tells you which variable to include in the model and which variable you don't include in the model. But that's not part of our discussion. I am assuming you guys are aware of all these things. The second is individually test the regression, right? You include one variable, okay, and then run the regression. The other is you include all the variables at one go and look at the variables which have significant relationship with your target variable, and probably you can include those variables in your model. But in some cases, some of the variables, okay, which are important may also become insignificant. So right, so you have to use multiple combinations, multiple analysis, correlation analysis. If there are, if your outcome variable is categorical and your dependent variable is categorical, so you use chi-square difference test to see the relationship. So all those analysis you have to do to actually conclude which variables you will include in your model. Right now, from this output, okay, tell me which variables are significant. Yes, significant variables. Now the way to interpret here this result is,
Sir,
yes,
the
yes,
star
just wait,
given
Manish.
part.
Yes, in
Yes, sir.
this, see, R is, look at this line, significant codes, okay? 0.001 confidence interval, right? P value 0.001. What do you mean by P value 0.001? Anyone? Hello.
So that is the
Error
significance
is
value.
So if that is significance value, what would be the confidence level?
99%.
Right, 99%.
Yes.
For 0.01, what would be the confidence interval?
90%.
And for 0.05?
95.
95.
Right, 95, right? So that's what it implies. So you have to, now in this table, you have to look at these 2 stars and 1 stars and tell me those variables. Yes. बताइए कौन कौन से वेरिएबल सिग्निफिकेंट है?
Sir, first is the job entrepreneur, and
So
then the marital married.
so that is the you
Significant
just look.
part, sir.
नहीं, but I'm just looking what is the variable name. Job,
Sir, I'm showing
okay.
the variable.
First, just look at the container. Is age significant? No. Okay. Then you
No,
have
sir.
the job. Now within job, there are at least 8-9 categories, 10-12 categories, and most of the
Yes, sir.
categories are insignificant. Right? So you may as well
Yes, sir.
ignore this variable. Okay. Then let's look at this balance. Okay, now balance is surprising here, right? We have discussed probably balance would have some kind of relationship with the outcome variable, but here it is insignificant, right? But in our model, still at the first stage, we will not drop this. Okay, then housing, किधर गया? Housing loan is insignificant, but just the loan, or it could be a personal loan, this one is significant. So we'll include that. Then for days again, we may ignore days. Now we have to include months because there are at least 5 to 6 categories which are significant in nature. Okay, and we can say there is some pattern. Okay, in the month of, let us say, in here July and March and October, right, people are accepting term deposit as a product. So we'll use month in our model. Duration is important. Look at this. Duration is significant. This campaign is significant. And the previous outcome is also significant. So just read out to me the variables which we have read.
Sir, why are we ignoring days?
Days. These days you are telling?
Yes, sir.
Huh. So see, it is simple, very simple. What is our objective? What business problem we are handling and what is our objective? Hello?
If the customer will accept the term deposit or not.
Our objective is to predict accurately whether the customer will accept the term deposit or not. Okay. Now, when you are if you talk to analyst or data scientist, for building any model, it takes it goes a lot of iterations before it goes into implementation. And it takes anywhere between 1 month to 2 months. So they use multiple combinations. Now, if you are telling me, okay, and so I have done a lot of iterations also, but you are telling me, sir, include days also. There are 3-4 specific days which are significant in nature. So what I will do, I will have a model, one model which has days as a variable, and I will have another model which does not have days. I will evaluate the accuracy of this model. I will evaluate the accuracy of this model and see if there is significant improvement in the accuracy after adding this variable to the model. If it increases my accuracy, I will include. If it doesn't, I will not include. I hope I have answered your question.
Yes, sir.
So if you want, we can include that also as a variable in the model. Okay. So that's the reason why. And the other part that we have learned in number of times, okay, the demographics, right? Even if demographics is not explaining proportion in your model, at least in the initial stages, you would still like to keep those demographic variables in the model. Okay. So tell me which variables we should include now. We will include duration was significant, campaign was significant, P days was significant, previous outcome was significant, month was significant, balance was not, okay, age was not, and whether the other variables were not significant. Is that fine?
सर P days नहीं था ना?
P days.
Previous outcome ये था सर.
हाँ P outcome.
हाँ सर, P outcome.
P outcome उसमें भी एक ही कैटेगरी सिग्निफिकेंट है, बट या सो P outcome.
सर वो टेलीफोन वाला भी है ना?
कौन सा वाला?
सर द कॉन्टैक्ट अननोन और टेलीफोन.
हाँ, सो कॉन्टैक्ट टाइप डेटा, इसमें डेटा सेट में नाम क्या है इसका? कॉन्टैक्ट वेरिएबल. Okay, So then what the next thing is to include only those variables in your model which are significant. Okay, so that was our first model. So second model, logistic underscore TMC 2. Okay, assign, then your GLM formula equals Y tilde. Okay, and now rather than assigning the entire set, okay, what we will do, we will only look at the significant variables, and the convention of writing that is tilde. Now just list down the variables that you would like to include in the model. Haji. Hello.
Yes, sir.
So variables, month, okay, plus P days plus
Duration.
duration, then
Campaign.
campaign, then P outcome, okay.
सर पीरियड सिग्निफिकेंट नहीं है ना?
नहीं नहीं, जस्ट चेक कर लो आपके आउटपुट में.
नहीं है सर.
राइट, एंड आप इसको सी, अब ये ना, it is like a play. You look at multiple combinations, multiple aspects, okay, and look at the predictive accuracy of this model. Okay, I prefer keeping demographics, your age, and because I have strong hunch balance का भी कुछ relationship है, so I would still keep that. Okay, and now it is your responsibility. Multiple combinations, you build 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different logistic regression models. I'll just explain you the steps. For which data? For train data, family equals binomial. Okay, and this is your second model. So run this command. So here I will remove this month. What else is missing? Duration, campaign. ठीक है. So I run this command. I am just keeping the name same. I am copying the command, copy and run this. So this is our model. Should I move ahead? Hello?
Sir, I have a question.
Yes.
Say if we took all the details and see the that there is someone is which is once again is not significant and removing that. So should we keep the that line of code or just move ahead with the new one?
We can go ahead with the new one.
Sir, but that will be confusing in the future for the future reference.
So you see, you give different names.
Okay, sir.
Right?
Okay, sir.
Should I move? आपने रन किया कमांड?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we will use this model, okay, to predict the outcome of Y for the test data set, which means what we already have this value Y data set, and using this model we will calculate either the probability or the outcome 1 0. Now in logistic regression we will calculate the probability and then we will say okay, 0.5 is our cut point, below 0.5 classify it as 0, greater than 0.5 classify it as 1. All right, so the command that we use is the predict function. Okay, so predict command, predict on the basis of what? So we are using command predict. Predict on the basis of what? The model. Logistic, whatever name that you are giving. Okay. Predict for whom? For the new data set. New data equal to test. And predict in terms of what? Okay. So there are three types, three arguments that you can give as I have shown here. Okay. This type. Predict in terms of what? In terms of either a response or link or terms. Now this term I also don't understand, but response is in the form of probability. So if you give response as an argument, okay, it will give you the outcome as a probability and we'll see how that probability. And if you give this link, okay, how do you write a logistic regression equation? Yes, how do you write a logistic?
Sir, e raised to the y divide.
Now in a linear form, in linear form. So we apply log to this. Hello.
Yes.
Y equal to log.
So it becomes
1 minus P. Okay. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
Yeah. So this is considered as a link function. Okay, so if you give input as link here, okay, R will calculate the value of this entire formula. Now, if we give response as an argument, as an input, we are asking give us a response. So rather than calculating this as a value, R will give us this value. I hope there is a clarity. Hello.
Hello, sir. Actually, I got
Now,
lost my connection. So can you repeat, sir?
So what I
Sir,
am
The
saying
last
is,
part.
yes.
there is a lag. That's why.
Okay. So what I am saying, if you give link as an input in this command rather than response, and you can actually run the command and see the output also, that also will give you a lot of clarity. In that case, it will calculate this and give you the value. Now, if you give argument as a response, rather than giving this entire value, it will give probability for you. And we are interested in probability, right? The final calculation that we would like to know is what
Yes,
is the
sir.
probability of acceptance or rejection, right? So
Yes,
you
sir.
can always keep this in default form. The only thing that I wanted to tell you is, okay, there are other inputs as well. Somebody, if कोई अचानक से आपको पूछ लेगा, तो these are the three inputs. However, if you are trying to calculate probability, this is the argument that you will give as a command. So copy this. So run this command. I am copying this in the chat box as well. So what you are doing basically here, you are calculating the probability for the test data set using this using this model, and the command for that is predict. Run the command and view. Now we have stored this value in using this particular my logistic regression, right? So prediction. So this is what we have predicted. Just look at this prediction, and these are the probabilities that have been calculated using for our. Now this is what happens in real life, in practice. Let us say there are 10,000 customers and you are trying to sell term deposit to 10,000 customers. In real time, the model predicts, okay, these out of these 10,000 customers, these 200 customers are most likely. So you take those 200 customers. The next step again in automated fashion is send an email offer to these 200 customers. Okay, so immediately an email of offer is sent, or share this contact to the contact center. The contact center in an automated fashion calls those customers and gives this offer. Okay, now based on this model, you have 200 who has been predicted. Now the contact center observes, okay, only 150 has accepted the offer, the rest 50 have not. So then that is your 75% prediction accuracy. So that information again goes back to the analyst team, and then again they try to rechange, modify, adapt that model based on the results they are getting in real time, right? Now, so we have calculated the probability. The next step is, based on the probability, we would like to calculate the prediction accuracy. So what we will do, we will say if the probability, this value is less than 0.5, the customer will not accept the offer. Okay, but if the probability is greater than 0.5, the customer will accept the offer. Right? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So to do our further analysis, what we will do, we will create a new data frame. Now that data frame will have customer ID as one column because that is a reference point for us. Then we will pick up this actual Y from the test data set. That becomes our second column. The third column, let us say, is our prediction, this value. Okay, and we will create a new data frame. Right? So what is the formula for creating data frame? So the function is data frame, data.frame. What we are doing, we are picking up what is the name of that first column. Okay, the name of the first column from which data set? Test data set. Test customer ID. This is capital ID, na? Just look into the data set.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and we would like to give the name as customer ID only. So customer ID equals to this. So this will be the name in the new data frame. And we are taking the values from this and assigning to this particular name in that data frame. Okay, then we would like to take the actual value. Why? This will be the name. Take values from which test data set of which column? Y. Then the next is Y underscore predicted probability or predicted class, predicted probability, whatever that you would like to use. This is just a name. Equals what? Equals what? हमने कौन सा वैल्यू?
My log
Exactly.
prediction.
Yeah, my log prediction. All right. So we are kind of creating a submission. Okay. So just run this command, and we are saying that this is just a name. So I'll copy this. Let me know the output. You can quickly view submit to see whether you have 3 columns in that or not.
Yes, sir.
You have?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You can all see in lot of analytics competitions or data competitions, they ask you to submit a CSV file as your result. Okay. So so the customer ID, response ID or observation ID. The second would be the actual value, Y value, and the predicted Y value. So in that format, they generally ask you to make submission. So that's what we are doing here. Now you can also extract this data in CSV format. Okay. So we'll see that in the next step. But just look at the use view and str function for the data frame submit and tell me the values. Haji.
Sir,
So I'm running
130. 339 observation and 3 variables.
Right. So we submit. So let us look at this data. Right. This is the data. This is customer ID and Y actual, and this is Y probability. Now, based on this probability, we would like to calculate 0 or 1. Right. So for that, we have to use a if else function. Okay. So this is the if else function. We are using this if else function for these probabilities that we have calculated. Now, if the probability is greater than 0.5, classify that as 1, which is categorical in nature. If it is less than 0.5, classify that as 0. Okay, and this will give us again a column data which is classification 1-0 outcome. Okay, so I will run this command. I'm also copying this. And let me know what kind of values. View predicted dot classes and let me know what values you are getting. हाँ जी.
So 0, 1.
Right now, the same command which you have used here, this submit command. Okay, इसमें आप एक additional column लगाओगे and you will name that as Y class. Okay, just wait a minute. So this predicted dot classes. Okay, you will call this as Y actual and add this column to that submit data frame. Which means what?
So it would be Y predicted.
It can be any name, na? Hello?
Okay, so like we already have the probabilities, so I thought.
So you can say Y predicted, you can say Y classification, Y, right? So it is just a name that we are giving. So there is some problem with my system, but so have you added that column to the data frame submit? What that implies? Okay, my system has got hanged, but earlier in that data frame submit, you had 3 columns. The customer ID, the Y actual, and the Y predicted probability. Then using the probability, you are classifying 0, 1. So you will also have Y underscore actual and Y underscore classification or Y underscore predicted classification, whatever name that you would like to give. Are you able to do that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. So now the next, again, our final objective is to look at the accuracy. Now we will need y actual and y predicted or y underscore class to evaluate the accuracy of the model. Now, how do you evaluate the accuracy of a classification model? The first step, yes. Hello.
Yes, sir.
How do you evaluate the accuracy of a model, classification model?
The based on the submit we have, we check the if y actual is how many times the y actual is equal to the y predicted,
So that is your
and based on
confusion
that we can
matrix.
predict the accuracy.
So we create
Yes, sir.
confusion matrix. Okay. And there are at least 17, 18 different parameters. Now in this context of corona test also, that is again a problem of classification, right? Whether the customer is positive and the test is predicting positive or negative, right? So the same logic also gets applied there also. So the test is evaluated based on how accurately it predicts and what kind of error it makes. Okay, so we will next class we will look at the evaluation of the model, then we will go to decision trees, random forest and other machine learning models, right? But this is the step. So now if अगर आप किसी और का ऐसा कुछ classes वगैरह attend कर रहे हैं, they would have told, okay, now you have built your first machine learning model. This is the machine learning model that you have built. So if you are able to run successfully all the commands and understand the operation, this is what is data science is. This is what is predictive modeling, right? And even if you are slightly feeling overwhelmed, I would still suggest you to be there. Just stick to the basics, try to run the command and try to understand the output that you are getting from the command. Okay, so I will stop here. Again, we will we'll continue our discussion in the next class, but that assignment is there. You have that customer churn data set. The approach, अगर आपके पास ये code है already, the only thing that you will have to do is adapt the variables, change the names and run the analysis. It will give you the results. So you will have to do that analysis till the data set creation, test and train data set. Okay. So I'll stop here.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Yes. Yes. So I'll stop here. Thank you all for your patience. If you have any questions, I'm there to answer, but otherwise the class is closed.
Sir, at this point of time, we have to create a CSV file, or should we after the accuracy one?
After the accuracy. There is no, see,
So,
there is no as such here. You can create after that also.
so sir,
Manish.
yes, sir.
हाँ, इसमें देखो मैंने 2 बार क्रिएट किया है just to show you, give you the feel कि what's happening, and the other reason is कि we repeat the steps 2, 3 times, 4 times, we repeat the command. Okay, so you get a feeling कि अच्छा हो क्या रहा है.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
So this write.csv command is for creating a CSV file from your data frame. So I will explain that in the next class.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.